We're going live. This Google Hangout Air is live for anybody to see, which is super cool. So awesome. Okay. So we just, I'm Jesse Navarro. We have Chris Sanders on the other side as well. We have been put together this book club for professionals, primarily attorneys, CPAs, financial planners. I'm a financial planner. Chris Sanders is an attorney. We're both here in Seattle, Washington, and we decided to do this book club because we like books, and we found that most people don't have enough time to read books. I mean, it's a reality of most people's lives. You got many things going on, and so this week we are doing a crucial conversation. So everyone has had a crucial conversation at some point, either with a significant other, a spouse, a boss, a friend, really anybody that you do. The guy at the checkout line. Sometimes that happens. So, anyways, so that's the books that we have decided to read this week, and today we're gonna go over some talking points with it. Keep it short and brief. Yeah. So, Chris, do you have anything you want to start with?
Yeah, sure. Let's start with defining a crucial conversation. Like, what is a crucial conversation? What was your after reading the book? What was your take on the definition of a crucial conversation?
Yes. So I wrote it down right here. So the definition of a crucial conversation is, so you have strong emotions. When you mix strong emotions with opposing strong emotions, opposing opinions, and high stakes, you mix those three together, you have a crucial conversation. So basically what that means is you have someone with two opposing opinions, right? Right now, let's talk about the political elections, right? We got people who like Donald Trump, people who hate Donald Trump, people like Hillary Clinton, people who hate Hillary Clinton. That's an opposing side. Now, there's also strong emotions to it as well. Very strong emotions, because people have very strong opinions and very strong emotions. And, well, are the stakes high? Well, it's for the presidency of the United States. So the stakes are also very high. So when you add those three together, those three components, that's when you have a crucial conversation. That's when it starts. So how do you communicate within that when you have all of that mixed together? Because you have strong emotions, people are don't feel safe, they're on the opposing side, they feel maybe attacked, either side. So that would be the definition of a crucial conversation. Did you have something else, Chris, that you may have or maybe wanted to add to what a crucial conversation?
Well, I'll say this. In reading this book, I've noticed how often these conversations really do occur, and I found myself realizing that I really do have these conversations all of the time, and they don't always rise to the level of maybe like a complete breakdown in communication and you walk away in anger or something. But we all have these conversations that reach this critical stage, this crucial stage. And this book is really all about how we navigate those conversations in an effective way that keeps the dialogue open and helps us move forward in a positive manner. And so I was really struck, though, by in reading this book by how often this really does occur. Like I can name a few times this week. In the attorney world, I'm in a courtroom, right? I'm dealing with prosecutors, clients who are potentially facing jail time, so that the stakes are very high for them. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always in this situation where I could have this conversation, a crucial conversation at any moment. And so that's what really struck me, is that these conversations really do happen a lot.
Yeah, they said there's three things that happen. Either people completely avoid the conversation or ignore it, One, two, they attack it head on, and it's handled incorrectly. And then the third, some people take get it head on, attack it head on, and something really great happens. And so, like, I could think of ways of all three of where I've had a conversation where I wanted to avoid altogether. Either it's something either I know I did, or maybe someone else did. Maybe it's a coworker, or for example, I know some coworkers that I've in the past attacked head on and didn't do it correctly. Now, one of the things they talked about was, the why some people, why it doesn't work, because some people they just want to win, right? So like, I don't know if sometimes you've been in conversations where it doesn't matter what the conversation is about, you just want to win the conversation, so you'll say whatever to make it win, and so that's you handle that incorrectly. And so one of the things that they brought up was it was the first focus on yourself, to work on yourself first and focus on like what you really want out of the conversation. So like what's the end goal you want out of that conversation when you're done? And right. So that's like the key thing, and focus on that. So if the conversation tears off to somewhere else, bring the conversation back to what you originally want. So if it's a pay raise that you want, right, focus on that. If it's if you want to spend more time with your spouse, right, just focus, like that's the main thing. You just want to spend more time with them. Or maybe it's a coworker, maybe there's disagreement. Focus on that disagreement and why that disagreement happened. And so that's one of the biggest takeaways I got was just don't argue to win. Don't argue just to win. Keep that conversation to kind of that main point.
Yeah, I picked up on that as well. One of the sort of side points that I picked up on was that it's really easy to be sidetracked by some of the ways conversations and arguments, for lack of a better term, crucial conversations, and follow different content matters, right? So you might start one conversation about one thing, and next thing you know, you're talking about something that's completely different. But back to what you were saying, Jesse, is to make sure that you're focusing on your goal and what you wish to get out of the conversation. And it's like almost as if you're staying above the fray, so no matter where the conversation goes, you've still got your goals in mind in terms of what you're hoping to accomplish by the conversation. And that will avoid us all, or help us all avoid this sort of like a death spiral that these conversations turn into.
Yeah.
So it's like the conversation can spiral, somewhere else. But if you're focused on, your goals and what you wanted to accomplish, then that's okay. And then you can just bring it back and nothing's happened.
Yeah. No, that's a big one. The second one they talked about was they said learn to look. So it's like, so be hyper aware of when safety is at risk. And so when people start getting aggressive or they start feeling defensive, that's when they start to feel unsafe. Like they feel like the other person is out to get them. And so then that comes back to the original, like the old lizard brain, as they said. So Daniel Kahneman talked about the old lizard brain. He's a behavioral scientist. And so he talks about there's an old brain, the amygdala in the back. We've all heard of the amygdala. Maybe we haven't, but there's a amygdala, our lizard brain, that's been developed for thousands and tens of thousands of years, ever since humans have been existing. And the whole point of that is to protect us and keep us alive. The problem is we still have that. We haven't developed out of that. And so as this technology develops, as we talk, we're really developed and built to lose conversations. And that's the downside. But what they did say was be able to handle a crucial conversation is a learned skill. It's not, it's not something that is that comes natural to a lot of people. and it's a learned skill, and it can be learned. So for people out there who feel like they can't, that you will never be able to be maybe a smooth talker or deal with negotiations or be able to talk with people, it's a learned skill. So the second one is just to feel the conversation out. And if like for example, Chris, if I'm ever talking to you and then I could sense you're getting a little defensive, that's when I, start opening up and say, oh, okay, well, and go back to the number one, like, what the original goal was. Like, hey, look, and don't apologize. Just say, hey, look, I may have said, this way, but what I actually really meant was X. So like I said this, but what I actually meant was X. And then just kind of clarify what I actually meant. And then find out what was it that kind of sparked him a little bit. I don't know. Have you seen that kind of in some examples that you've done personally with maybe a line of work that you've done, or maybe with friends or coworkers?
This is actually a really big point. And I wish the author had expanded a little bit more on it, that there are a lot of different cues you can use to pick up on when a conversation has converted into a crucial conversation. Obviously, there are some cues that are obvious to most people, right? If a person is flushed in the face or says uses words that are indicators of anger, maybe those are the more obvious indications. But there's body language. There are more like passive aggressive comments, comments that may not be on their face indicators, but could very well be indications of that the person has reached a point where they are uncomfortable with the conversation, right? So that's what I think the author talks about, is that when conversations turn into crucial conversations, that means that the person, at least one of the people involved in the conversation, is uncomfortable with what's going on. And it's not necessarily the words that have been said. It can just be the condition of the conversation. I think that was the phrase that was used. And that could be that could stem from a lot of different reasons. It could have nothing to do with what's being discussed at that time. Perhaps, you're having a conversation with your significant other, and your significant other is, thinking about something that's happened to him or her in the past, and that's sort of layering how they're viewing your current conversation. And so you have to really, really be, at least from my perspective, you have to really be cognizant of how these cues could really come from anywhere. It could be body language, it could be a verbal cue, it could be defensiveness. I think that was one of the big topics that was discussed. And just be really open to these cues, because they could be right in front of you, and you don't even know it,
Oh yeah, you're right. The third one after that, they mentioned once you start feeling that cue, is to make them safe. So bring the conversation back to safety, and make the other person feel safe. So kind of like exactly what you just said, is to focus on what the original idea was, what that thought process was. And let me see if I can share my screen. Let's see if this will let me share a screen here. If not, then that is perfectly okay. But there is a pretty cool little deal. And if it's not letting me share a screen on here, probably can't. Oh, here we go. So it would be right here. All right. Uh-oh. That's not what I wanted. Here we go. This is it. This is the screen I wanted to share. So let's see if this will let this happen here. Here we go. So if you can see this here, crucial conversations. So the first one they talked about was this is the model. before you do anything, you have to work on yourself first. Get unstuck, start with the heart, master my stories. This is huge because you can't work on other people. It's like, you want other people to recognize different things and, and feel, have the same sense that you're sensing, but that's impossible. It's like, so you want to be able to work on yourself first. I thought that was really, really cool. And then there's during the conversation, the meaning, state my path, and then, learn to look, make it safe. We talked about that, but the pool of a shared meaning. Now, this is something that everybody can use, the pool of shared meaning, but I also interpret this as a common goal. Like what is a common goal that we all share, right? And how can we move forward with that common goal? And so that's how persuasion starts. If you're trying to persuade someone to make a sale on a product, or if you're trying to persuade someone at like for my industry to maybe spend a little less, right? If they're overspending and with over their budget, and that they're going to run out of money, how do you say it in a way where it's a shared meaning and you don't move into a crucial conversation? So the whole goal of it is not even to get into crucial conversation. The goal is to be able to facilitate that enough to where it doesn't even get to a crucial conversation. Right. And then, or like, for example, like maybe like yours would be a perfect example. You work with prosecutors. Like what's a common goal that maybe you and the prosecutor can share with your client that ends up, being a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a really important point. In terms of the full shared meaning. And I think that's something that we all need to, at least I know I need to remember, is that it's like
we all need to do it, man. Everyone's guilty of this.
But just remembering that there's always at least one common denominator, if not several, right, in any conversation, no matter how heated it may be or uncomfortable. You just remember that. It's all about finding that shared meaning, and disarming the conversation, finding the shared meaning, and then moving forward.
Cool. Well, I like it. So I think we got some pretty good stuff here. And then again, anyone listening, let us know maybe some books that you're interested in, and also some feedback. What'd you think? Maybe you wanted to learn more or less. Definitely want to hear from you. And then also, do you have a next book?
Yes, I'm thinking about this book called Grit. Have you read it?
What's it called?
It's called Grit by Angela Duckworth.
Grit, G-R-I-T, Grit?
Yes.
Okay. Angela, what's the author? Angela
Duckworth. Duckworth. Cool.
What's it about? What's the kind of quick synopsis?
So, quick synopsis of Grit, at least as far as I've understand it. Grit's been in the news a lot recently. And it talks about success and what this author thinks is really critical to success, and that's perseverance, an inner spirit to succeed, to grind it out, as you might put it. And so I'm really looking forward to the book and picking it apart and thinking about it, if that's what it takes to be successful. Or, I know it's been somewhat of a controversial book, but it should be an interesting topic nonetheless.
Cool. Sounds good, man. So let's jump on that then. Awesome. So till next time, Grit is the book. And so feel free to follow along, grab the book. I'll see if I could put a link for the book if you want to buy it, and then also a link for Crucial Conversations as well. So anyways, so that's it. But any last any final words?
No, just looking forward to the next installment here. Really looking forward to to talking about Grit.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See ya.